Tom Esch here, chilly St. Paul, Minnesota, where it was 20 below yesterday. And I'm with Matt Turk, COO of Intren. I've known Matt for several years. I've known about him for many years. Amazing leader, wonderful guy. Very honored to have you here, Matt, today.
Well, thanks for the invite, Tom.
You're welcome. Matt is the COO of Intren, and if you don't know, Intren is a wonderful company, been around a long time, founded by Loretta Rosenmeyer,
Yeah.
and they're based in Union, Illinois, and they're an innovative utility solutions partner dedicated to building and maintaining the infrastructure of the energy industry, which is a mouthful. So you've been there 33 years, and I believe you started out in safety, did you not, Matt?
I did, Tom. Yes, Loretta brought me in as her first safety manager. Small company, obviously, in 1988 when she started. I joined her in 91 and then moved into operations from there.
Wow. And I know you and I also share a common background in that you have a master's in theology. Yours from Catholic U, mine from Notre Dame. Did I get that
We,
right?
you do. You got a good memory, Tom. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And
And of course, I met Loretta at the church there in Crystal Lake, and she said she had this crazy idea to start a company. And from the beginning, because her family was there and her kids were there, safety was critical to her. She was kind of ahead of the curve on that, I think, back in the
yeah,
early '90s.
yeah. So that's a great story. I'd love to go there, but I want to focus on the purpose of the podcast. The podcast is called The Case for Construction Culture, Balancing Safety and Profitability. And I know as COO, you have to think about both, Matt, but I'm
Yeah.
curious about your thoughts about culture, about leadership.
Mhm.
What are some words or definitions you use or think about when you're defining
Yeah.
culture in your current role?
Yeah, and it is critical. And I think, when she started, and any entrepreneur starts, the culture is really their ethos, right? But for us, it's really the kind of the overarching personality at the company, the
Mhm.
consistent overarching approach, right? That
Yeah,
each of us try to live. And it's critical. You're exactly right. If the company, any company, doesn't have a critical culture that drives it, that everyone buys into, we're kind of disheveled. So for us, it was really around, we use a word like stewardship.
hmm
It's a little strange for construction, but that was one of our taglines for a while, bringing stewardship to the construction industry. And it was that we're going to take care of each other. We're going to take care of our customers in every yard we go in as if it's our own. Their priority is our priority. And I think we just kind of drilled that into the culture so that safety and production and profit went together. We used to have a shirt that would say, prevention is production.
uh,
So if we prevent an accident, prevent a damage, the rest will take care of itself, right?
uh,
And I think it was just really trying to drive that through the company.
Boy, that's great. Wow, that stewardship as caring for people. Imagine that, Matt. That wasn't real popular,
It
especially
wasn't in the '90s. No, that's
30,
right.
40 years ago. We hear that word more and
Yeah.
more now as mental health is an issue, as everyone knows that when you take care of people, they're likely to stay around, produce
Yes.
better, be safer. But prevention is production. That's an interesting phrase. You had T-shirts that said that, or
We did. We had the T-shirts probably in the 2000s. We always pass them out. So everybody say, look, if you don't have a damage, you don't have an injury, you don't have an auto accident, we'll get everything done for the client.
that's
Profit will
production.
be there.
Because
Yep. That's it.
there's this myth, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's true, that
Mhm.
being safe takes more time, that I can't be
Right.
productive, Matt. I got too many safety rules, too
Right.
much PPE,
Right.
man. I can't. Right?
Right.
It's a myth,
Yeah.
and it's true in some cases, but over the
Mhm.
long course of a company, I don't know
Right.
if it's true.
No, no, I agree with you. And we definitely believe that here. We started a program with another kind of tagline a few years ago saying, home safe tonight. Let's make our commitment to each other that we're all going to get home safe tonight.
Yeah.
And again, it's that deep commitment in the culture where we say, when we gather in the morning, in the yards and the trailers, and they go out to the work sites, hey, listen, we're going to finish this for this customer. And we're going to, main thing is taking care of each other, right? And nothing else matters. We hurt somebody gets killed. The leadership at the company, it really is, how do we distribute that so everyone buys into it? So, you kind of ask the question of how do we drive that culture? We really put our time and effort into distributive leadership.
hmm
And that as leaders, we have to take a stand, right?
hmm
Um, do we believe that? And do we put our stake in the ground and say, this is where I'm standing? Nobody's getting hurt on my cruise, right? And we need the groundman, the driver, you know how it is. We got 1,300 and some employees. All
Yeah.
1,300 got to buy in, right? That's what we
Yeah.
want.
Wow. It's a great vision, Matt. What are you most excited about as we're going into the new year here and
Mhm.
beginning things and in terms of developing leaders
Yep.
and guiding people when it comes to culture and or safety and or
Mhm.
productivity? What are you
Yeah.
excited about, Matt?
We started in the fall a program called Breakthrough Thinking, where we brought in 35 of the leaders, right? The directors and above to
Yeah.
say, look, we're a 37-year-old company, very successful, very proud of what we all built, what Loretta did, right?
Yeah.
Sold in 21, as you know, to Maztec, now part of
Yeah.
the big Maztec family.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of in the culture group after that sale going, well, the good old days. It was like this when Loretta was here.
Hmm.
And we really stopped in the past 5, 6 months to say, what do we want to invent? Who do you want to be? The next 30 years are yours. So
Hmm.
as leaders, what I'm most excited about in 25 is we're reinventing. So we stood up to say, who does Intra need to be for the next energy revolution, the new energy industry for the next 30 years? And
Hmm.
we have the power to create that. And we met last fall. We rolled out our initiatives to say, look, we want to continue to be the number one solution provider in the new energy industry, the most sought after to work at and to hire. So what do we have to do to do that? They made the commitment, Tom, to say there will not be a SIF on our property this year. There'll be no significant injury or fatality. We're done with it. We're going
Hmm.
to work injury free, right? And so the leaders made a commitment to that. We're not going to have an unplanned outage. We're not going to have an at fault outage on a customer. We're going to work error free for them. So if we want to be number one, we want to drive this, we all got to buy in. So the exciting piece I'm at now is to get all of those 35, 40 leaders to say, I'm in, right? I stand together with it.
Hmm. Wow, that's exciting. Sounds like that was a good meeting and then the work begins in terms of
Yes,
really enrolling them in that. That's an
right,
ambitious vision, number one solution provider and no significant injuries and
right.
no outages. I mean, that's a big vision,
That's a
Adam.
game changer, right? Yep, that's a
It
game
really
changer.
is. I feel your passion on it. I feel your commitment on it. And I also know it's not easy stuff to
Right.
do. I've done a
No,
lot of work around culture change and
right.
culture developing leaders as you have. What do you see as some of your top challenges this year in the
Mhm.
context of the world we're in? It's a different world, Matt. It's not the
Mhm.
world isn't what it
It
was
is.
pre-COVID,
No, yep.
what has a lot of different happenings, and it's a
Yes. No, well,
world
you're
we're
exactly.
in.
That's why we had to say, what's uh, the new energy industry, right? It's not what it was in 2020. It
Mm-mm.
isn't. You're exactly right. And people's commitment. But at the end of the day, workers want to be respected and they want to know that we care.
Mhm.
And so, how do we get all 1,300 to know this is the safest place to work? We're going to give you the training, the tools, and the respect for you to do your job. And I think that's the big challenge to get that all the way across, out of Union, Illinois, into the 12 states that we work in those little show up yards. That they got to know that, right? We got to take care of each other. And then I think each leader's got to buy in to say, look at yes, we have to make profit. We got to win this account. We got to win this job, so we keep working. But if we kill somebody, it doesn't matter, Tom, right? It doesn't. And the industry had a tough last few years in the electric industry with fatalities.
Mm.
Um, and we just we're going to put our foot down. We're done. That we can't do it. So I think that's a challenge. I do think, as you said, post COVID, reestablishing relationships with clients
Mhm.
where that face to face walking in, they knew it, you built the trust, you really listened to their priorities. I think we're really putting efforts into getting back to that so we understand. I
Mhm.
do think the economic pressures on the utilities is a big one. We had
Mhm.
a tough year in 24, a lot of downturn in the work, a
Mhm.
lot of downturn. We had a massive layoff, right? As you remember, you and I had discussed.
Yeah.
And our goal during the layoff was to avoid injury. Because sometimes everyone gets worried about my job, right? Their job, and then they lose focus and get hurt. We came out of that very, very well, right? Saying we're going to take care of it, we're going to communicate it. Nobody's going to get hurt during this time. So I think the economic pressure is how do we innovate and do the work and cost less, right? It's really the ask, I think, from utilities and our contractors. Bring me innovations, bring me technology. how can I put the pole up, the wires up, right, and build this, but do it more economically? I think that's a big challenge.
Yeah. Wow. And getting the buy-in from all your leaders, all those 35,
Mhm.
40 key leaders in the company,
Yes.
overseeing 1,200 and 12
Yeah.
states. How do you get buy-in, Matt? What are the
Mhm.
challenges? I mean, I'm hearing what sounds like be
Yeah.
more innovative, be more creative, do it better, do it more efficiently, and do
Mhm.
it safely. Number one,
Mhm.
nobody dies, nobody gets seriously injured. It feels
Yeah.
like a lot of pressure. How do you get
Mhm.
buy-in such a pressure cooker there?
And what we tried to do is step back and we've been out in the field, right? So I was in Iowa, I was in St. Louis, I was down in Cincinnati. Let's get back out in the field with the workers, right?
Mhm.
Stand in the morning with them at 6 o'clock, and listen to say, what do you need? What do you need to do your job? And opening them up to think, what's the possibility? And so, we can talk about, well, this is how I've always done it, right? I do this and it's right. This is how I pull up in the morning. I set my job up and I do that, and we get our results. But if
Mhm.
I want different results, if I need to drive different results, I can't do it the same way.
Mhm.
So we've really, with the just to try to take the time with the crews and the leaders to say, well, what if? What would be a different possibility, right?
Mhm.
Um, when we talked about the solution provider piece and solutions, we want to be a one stop. So a few years ago, I said, you know what, we need to be in veg. And of course, initially, well, the veg is terrible. Like kidding, it's unsafe. There's no money in it. One company controls it. I said, look, we need to be a one stop. We need to be in vegetation management. And Mostek got behind that. As you know, we bought Shade Tree um, out of Fenton, Missouri, in 21, late 21, early 22. A small family company, great values. We started Intren Veg, and this we are going to be a major player in the veg. The workers and the leaders that got behind that time, we just secured probably $150 million of contracts. We are in
Wow.
the veg. So
Wow.
within 3 years, which we never trimmed a tree before, right? At least not getting paid for it. Probably took a branch down, but weren't supposed to. We now just we're at the hurricane, right? We're doing storm response. We are growing, and they're growing because of the service and the safety and the passion of those workers. So that's buying. It wasn't just me, right? I'm not the one cutting the tree. I'm not the one leading.
Mhm.
But it's the workers saying, look at now we can go to a utility and say, look, I can trim the tree. We have a traffic control company now. We can take care of the traffic. We can do the line. We can build lineable landscape. You got one stop. So I think it's getting that passion and the possibilities. So someone says, well, what about this? Great. Let's run down that. Let's follow it. So it's just creating that energy for, breakthrough ideas and breakthrough thinking.
Where do you find breakdowns, Matt? And I know
Mhm.
that may not be something you want to talk about, but I know there's
No,
breakthroughs and then there's breakdowns.
I got my list. I got my list, Tom. I'll share.
Where do they sometimes
Yeah.
break down? You're an operations manager. You
Yeah.
must be seeing some breakdowns along the way, especially with
Yeah.
this ambitious challenge and vision you have.
Yep. It is. And I'll leave names out, but we were on an account probably 5, 6 years, and recently lost it. And
Lost a what,
it,
Matt?
we lost an account, right? So we had
Uh,
an
yeah,
MSA with the
yeah,
utility.
yeah,
So if you share about some of the breakdowns where it doesn't work,
yeah.
and so it was tough. We thought, hey, we're doing great here, right? This is it. We got passion. We're serving them well. What I call it, I look back time is we got tone deaf, and
Uh-huh.
I got tone deaf. I got to own that piece for me too, right?
Uh-huh.
That we were not really on the ground listening to not
Uh-huh.
only our workers but that utility and what their real needs were. I think we
Uh-huh.
got stuck in this is how we do it. We're the best. We're number one. This is how
Uh-huh.
we do it. Well, they didn't want that. They wanted this. And so that was a tough one. We all had to step back to go, wow, we lost a lot of jobs, right? Lost a whole line of work, but had to say, we thought we were doing so well here. So I think it's making sure you keep your ear to the ground, and we can't get tone deaf, right? We got to listen.
Boy, that's a really good one. We can't get tone deaf, especially when you're used to being the chosen source. I mean, I
Right,
know you
right,
guys
right.
at Mastech now, but as Intren for
Hmm.
so many
Yeah,
years, we're so much the chosen company
right,
that I know that having been in around Chicago the last 20 years, you guys just had a great
right.
track record. And some of the other people you and I both know, like Carl Oko and others who work
Yeah,
there, contributed
yes.
so much over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Great leader.
that you can get tone deaf sometimes because you get maybe overconfident or you get
Yep.
strong in one area and then you
Hmm.
can become tone deaf. How do you help people hear the notes, Matt? How do you help people listen better? What are the key things you're doing to make sure everybody's listening more skillfully? Because sometimes these tough guys and tough ladies in construction don't always listen great, myself
Hmm.
included.
And me too. I agree with you. We can get set. I can get stubborn in my ways. I've done it this way. We're successful.
Yeah,
And you get
yeah,
that general form saying, "This is my crew. We know how to put a line up."
yeah,
What do you mean? I got to do it different.
yeah.
Um, I think it's to build the relationship where there's a trust, right? And that takes time,
Yeah.
where we have to sit and ask a different question. So we moved a lot of our meetings, our agendas, off of details and benchmarks to let's talk strategy and who we are. And it's been a kind of a rough 6 7 months trying to do that. To say from the general foreman to the crew, hey guys, what do you see? How's it going? What do you mean? I got to get this job done by the 10th. Okay, we got that. But what are you hearing in the industry? Let's step back. What could we be? And so, from the executive level to the middle management, we're really trying to drive here a different discussion point that lets people creates an environment where people can think differently, right? And it takes time. It takes a very disciplined commitment to it. Yes, we got to still get jobs done. We still got to win bids, but I think it creates a, a different approach. Our tagline now is you see outperforming every day, which we had the discussion, should we go away from that? Is that it? But it really feels it captures the culture. I'm putting my boots on every morning and I'm outperforming today. I'm living stewardship. I'm going to come home safe. I'm serving that client. I'm doing it honestly and with integrity, right? And I'm doing it every day. And not, hey, I'll give you my best on Tuesday, but Thursday and Friday, my mind's on the weekend, right? So it's just, I think, spending the time with those discussion points um, to say, who are we? What kind of company? What does the world need now? What does the energy need? And it's okay. Let's try something different and create an environment where someone says, how about this?
Boy, it's challenging to do with the tough guys, isn't it, Matt? That level of
Um,
introspection or reflection. I mean, it's so against the hard
mhm.
nosed, get her done attitude. Does that outperforming word, outperforming every day, is that one word or two, outperforming? Is it
Two words with periods. Outperforming,
outperforming?
period,
I
every day.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I just had to ask and get the
I got
clarification.
a shirt with that too. I need to send you one.
I'd love to see that shirt, Matt. I like the tagline. You guys obviously have some really good leaders, and I'm sure some really good outside sources supporting
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also curious about how you would talk about. I mean, you kind of
Mhm.
are talking about my next
Yeah.
question. How is culture formed by the decisions, behaviors, and values of its founders and its leaders,
Mhm.
people like you, key leaders? And in what ways can leaders like you continue to influence the outcomes? Worker engagement is a big one. Everybody's looking
Yeah.
for workers, Matt, and I don't know
Right.
how your turnover is or how you're
Mhm.
finding the new skilled next
Yeah.
workforce, but how are you influencing the outcomes such as worker engagement,
Mhm.
profitability, quality work, safety?
Mhm.
I mean, you're kind of talking about it, but I'm wondering if you could take it a level deeper, Matt.
Mhm. You're right. It's what I've probably come to, and the leadership has come to at Intren is we have to be very intentional.
Hmm.
So our language that we use, where we show up, how we show up, we have to be very intentional and conscious because the worker will see um, our discrepancies. They'll see our hypocrisy.
Hmm.
So if I'm truly caring about safety, how do they see me in the field? How do they see me react when an incident happens? How do they see any of us react that would say we're caring about the person first, right? Um, And I think we just really are getting conscious of our language when we speak, and the words that we use. Because I think that every one of those workers looks at it, right? Um, we had a tough spot where we had to close an office out of the East Coast
Hmm.
and tried to, you know, work things out. We couldn't. Um, so we had 27 guys that had been with us a long time, men and women. So I said, look, we got into December, the negotiations fell through. So I said, look, I got to go out. They go, well, you don't have to go. And I'm not telling the story to say how great it was, but it's really the leadership example. Guys, we have to go as leaders and deliver the news. It can't be the general foreman from a phone call.
Absolutely.
We stood with this, folks. We're going to get there. So, it was a tough one. We went out, um, stood in the barn with the guys saying, look, this is what we tried to do. We shared with you the last few months. Couldn't make it happen. We have to shut down in 2 weeks, but we're going to commit to find every one of you a job. That's my commitment to you. I will get you all placed. Um, Not everyone believed that. It was kind of an ugly a
Hmm.
meeting where one of
Hmm.
the big tough guys you talk about kind of came at me
Yeah.
and you son of a bitch, and you're lying to us, and why would I ever believe you? It was
Wow.
ugly, and
Wow.
I just look. I hear you, but I have never not told you the truth, and we're going to get everybody placed, and we did. We got him with other contractors. But I think it was when you talk about how do people watch. Now, could I have just phoned it in or let somebody else do that? We could have. Um, but if we're people of integrity and all of our leadership, we've got to stand in there in the good times and the bad, right? And I think then that makes people say, I want to work for you. I want to come there.
Hmm.
Um, we have put a lot of effort. We started a Mastech Intren Institute in Chicago, downtown on the South State Street, um, working with a number of the churches and the community associations there to invite in local workers into the field. So we're able to show them and talk about, we call it a cohort. We run this Intren Mastech Institute about twice a year. Um, and they're paid to come Saturday and Sunday so they can still keep their jobs. But one of the cohorts may be on traffic control. So we can get you into flagging and traffic. One may be on veg management. Now we're in the veg field. It's tough to become a lineman right away, Tom, as we know, right?
Hmm.
But we also work with the IBW unions and the laborers and to try to place and say, here's the work. Come on out, take a look at it. We go over to the training centers to say, this is a great industry. As you know, we work with ComEd and the Construct program after the last 12, 13 years.
Hmm.
So when I'm proud of the industry. I love it. And we need to continue to share that story around to say this is a great industry and it's a safe industry. We're going to care about you. Um, you know, that's how when Loretta started in 80, I think that some of her original people are retiring.
Hmm.
So they come in and go, you know what? They're in tears. Um, I, I put my kids to college. My daughter's married. I have a grandchild. This job did that for me.
Hmm.
And you guys cared for me, right? It's like, hey, I'm getting old, Tom, right? We've been to like our grandkids, like, holy cow, what happened? We were all young bucks, right?
Uh-huh.
But that is what culture is, right? That's really saying this is the place to be. And
Hmm.
again, as you said, we don't always get it right. Sometimes we screw up, but I think if they see us, all leaders at Intren, people of honesty and integrity, and that passion about caring for them first, we're coming home safe.
Hmm.
I think that builds the passion culture in the worker.
Hmm. Nice. Wow, it's a beautiful story. I love the fact that you went out there yourself, Matt. I know some
Yeah,
stories where the leaders didn't do that, and it really destroyed organizations, and it really
right.
things fell apart. I was part of an organization here in
Yeah,
Minnesota, and there had actually been a death and a
mm,
real serious issue, and the
yeah,
leaders did not come out,
right.
and that really hurt things. So I'm
Yeah,
very happy, and you have to be courageous. The guy who sort of came at you, he was mad,
hmm,
probably scared and mad
yep,
and hurt.
right. It
But
was exactly
tough guy communicating the way he knows how to fight for what he needs, but you worked
right.
hard, you went out personally. I love that story. And maybe that's the story for the final question, or maybe you have another one,
Mhm.
but I'm wondering if you could tell a story of a successful change effort you helped lead, or maybe even more interesting, a
Mhm.
change effort that failed, something you tried
Mhm.
to do that you invested in and it
Yeah.
didn't go the way you wanted and you learned something. I don't know if that's a question you want to answer as we're wrapping up here, Matt.
I'll try to do both for you.
Okay.
I think when we began to want to expand. If you go back to probably 2005, six, get
Yeah.
beyond Illinois, we took a look where the work was, and we went down to Cincinnati, Ohio. They were doing some underground work, going to put in their system, and they had to move all the ducts and the manholes. And so this is what we do. We're going to do this, and most of our superintendents go, he's non-union down there.
Yeah.
Hey, we're never going to win this. What are you crazy? We're gone. We're going to win. We can do this. Nobody does it better than you. You guys do this best. Intren got this. We went to the meetings. We were the only union company in the pre-bid. You can see people kind of smirking.
Yeah.
We walked out, and our leadership for field and otherwise said, you're wasting our time. You really think we're going to win this? They said, look, guys, we're going to not only win this, but you're going to build this, and then we're going to be here permanently. We're going to be their contractor.
Wow.
And 12 years later, we are a main contractor for that utility in Cincinnati. But I think the success was getting workers to think differently, right? We can do this. This is who you are. And then when that utility experiences people who care and outperform and have integrity and put them first, it made a big difference, right? So I think that's one where we went for something to say, no, let's do that in the next city. Let's do that in the next. So
Hmm. Hmm.
in time, our history, probably 2005 to 2014 is when we really grew.
Yeah.
And so let's take who we are to the next place. With that was another one was workforce development.
Hmm.
Loretta really, as woman-owned company, she asked the question around 2012, if I started today, would I make it? We all said no. Rules are different. Expectations are different. As a
Hmm.
small woman player out of your garage, you wouldn't have made it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So she said, let's change it. So she started a mentoring program, then a partnering with, she said, our first choice for every sub or vendor will be a minority or woman owned company. So today we have probably 95 companies. We work with about 70 of them. So that is her commitment, right? And now our commitment to say, we're going to help other minority and women owned companies and give them an opportunity. Now, when she first brought the idea up, I go, are you crazy? You're going to give our work away. Loretta, this is our work. I'm going to give it to somebody? What are you
Hmm.
nuts? And she goes, it's not our work, right? It's okay. There's enough. There's enough room at the table. But from the time she started at around 2010 or 11, we were probably $100 million company. We went to a $580 million company within 5 years.
Wow.
Now, I would look back and say it's because of that. So we're we really put time into the workforce development, working with other minority companies, and opening the door up. Not saying I got to win. I can't use you, Tom. You're my competitor.
Hmm.
Um, so, and on the flip side of that, we've had some of those relationships where we tried and it did fail, right?
Hmm.
Um, where we maybe we got it wrong, maybe we together just pushed and it didn't work out. Whether it was workers we were trying to bring in or minority companies. Um, so it doesn't always work, right?
Hmm.
Um, but then we opened that office and thought we were, the cat's meow, and we weren't, and we missed it, right? So you got to step back honestly and say, hey, let's take a look at that and refocus and go again. So, but again, my dad used to say, each day get up and throw as many um, handfuls of mud on the wall as you can, because one or two will stick. But don't stop throwing them. So let's get the view. Let's get an idea. Let's think about stability. A lot of them don't work, but the ones that do come through.
Wow, I love those stories, man. I especially love the story of Loretta saying, let's partner with and support
Mhm.
minority and women-owned companies. Did you say
Mhm.
95 of them or 70 of them?
So we have about 95 in the front. Some are vendors where we buy supplies from them, but
Yeah,
most of them would be contractors. Yeah.
yeah. And the confidence to say there's enough, there's plenty, that's sort of that.
Mhm.
And I know there's a
I
number.
wasn't quite there at first. I'm going, wait a minute. And then when you lose
Yeah,
that first contract to somebody who helped, you go, son of a,
Yeah,
We
yeah,
lost it. They got it.
yeah. Where does that kind of inner confidence come from, Matt? I mean, I know Loretta has a special gift, but many of you have some of this inner faith. It's almost
Mhm.
faith or something, Matt.
You know what? It
What's
was,
wrong?
and she viewed Intren as her life's mission, right? As her
Hmm.
mission, and her faith was in it. She lived it. I believe the same thing. Where's the Lord want us? How does He want us to be? So
Yeah,
without question, and again, doesn't mean it's always right. Doesn't mean we didn't have years we lost money.
yeah,
Um, there's good and bad with it, but you got to see the hand and say, what are we about? It's not just a contract. This is our mission. We got to take care of each other. And when I still see her, she's 85 now. She always tells me, "Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have sold." And she sold at age 80. Think of this, worked till 80. Um, it was her life. She misses the men. She misses the challenges.
yeah,
She misses them.
yeah.
But I think if we can get that passion, Tom, in every worker, we're going to be safe. We're not
Yes.
going to get moved. We're going to do good with each other in the unions and in our work, right?
Yep. Yep. Beautiful, Matt. Any final thoughts you have? I love the stories. I love your passion. I love the
No,
vision. I just think you guys are going to continue to have success and
no,
continue to be a safe company, leading the way with safety with people like Tyler
yeah.
and
Yes,
other.
great young leader, right? Just was made a vice president. I don't know if you
Yeah, I saw
caught that, but
that.
he's working even at the larger piece in Mostec. Great
Yeah.
vision and commitment. Uh, Stands on his truth. Takes a stand. Sometimes pushes back on me, and then I go, wait, but he goes,
Yeah.
he's right. And he knows he's right. He doesn't give up. I love it. But we do. We're very blessed with great leaders at the company. And again, you in the industry, when you brought the vision, you've thought out of the box, right? You've done this. You've always brought innovation and great passion to say we can get this right. We can
Hmm.
do this without an injury.
Hmm.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome, Matt. I think we're going to end it right there. Thanks for being on the
Yeah.
podcast.